My name is Gabriel, and you are watching rptv News. The Regent Park Social Development Plan's Planning Committee held a crucial meeting on the 4th of July. The focus of the meeting was the future of Sunday in the Park, a beloved community event that faces an uncertain future due to funding challenges. This cherished event, known for bringing joy and unity to the neighborhood, is at risk of cancellation. The Planning Committee is determined to find a solution and ensure the event goes on. Now, let's dive into this pivotal meeting.
I ask someone else to read the purpose of the planning committee.
I can read it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Meeting date July the 4th, 2024 from 5 to 7. Purpose of planning committee. The committee makes recommendations to the SDP stakeholders table on strategic direction and action priorities, intercommittee alignment, coordination, stakeholders and residents engagement by supporting the SDP stakeholders table to ensure that the meetings are effective, supporting the 4 working groups to be prepared to report at the SDP stakeholders table meetings, address requirements and/or requests that need a quick response, identifying information and/or expertise that stakeholders require in order to make sound and informed decisions, developing facilitation approaches that increase the capacity of all stakeholders to engage in decision making.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Waleed, are you back at the computer now?
Yep. Yes, I am. Maybe we could just quickly do a round of introductions, just to make sure that we know who's in the room, and then I'll just start us off.
Sure, sounds good. So my name's Ishmael. I am the SDP admin on this role, and I'm also a resident over here. Not really much else to say. Elena, I'll pass it over to you if you want to introduce yourself really quickly.
Yes, thank you very much, Ismail. My name is Elena Mirza Tagizadeh. I am the EED co-chair and, of course, be a part and participants in the SDP programs and SDP committee programs, all the programs. Thank you very much. I just pass it to the Adonis that I can see him. Please go ahead, Adonis. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adonis Huggins. I'm the communications co-chair currently, and with Focus Media Arts Center. And I pass it to, let's see, I pass it to, sorry, I'm having trouble with scenes there. Ismail, go ahead.
Oh, I already went. I'll pass it over to Caitlin.
Hi, folks. I'm Caitlin Ferreira, she, her pronouns. I work at the Young Street Mission as a community development specialist, and a lot of my work supports the Evaluation and Benchmarks Committee. I will pass it along to Sarah Jane.
Hi, I'm Sarah Jane. I'm a market resident. This is my 5th year as a market resident. And as I said last week, I was so pleased to go to my first performance in the hall last weekend, and I was so proud of Regent Park and the fact that I live here. Okay, I'll pass it to Joel.
My name is Joel Clausen. I'm a community development specialist at Young Street Mission and one of the co-chairs of the community building working group. I will pass it to Cher.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cher, and I work at Dixon Hall. I'm a communications specialist. I oversee external and internal communication, as well as public relation within our community spaces in our proximities as well. And I will pass it on to, sorry, give me one moment. Who is Kedar? Is that how you say your name? Yeah,
Kedar.
I'll pass it on to Kedar. Kedar? Okay, I'll pass it on to
Thank
Kedar.
you. My name is Kedar Ahmed. I work at Focus Media Arts Center. I'm a Regent Park resident, and I'm a civic journalist as well as an aspiring videographer. And I will pass it to Murshida.
Oh, thank you. So my name is Murshida, Regent Park resident, and a co-chair of the communication table. I don't know what's going to be after the 16. We'll see. Yeah. I'll pass it to Joe.
Joel already went.
I went already.
Miguel, would
How
you like
about
to?
Miguel?
Yes, hi everybody. My name is Miguel. Good to see everybody. Thank you. I pass it over to let's see, Colin.
Hey, I am a member of CBOG, the Neighborhood Association, and the Employment and Economic Development Working Group. I've been a market resident in Regent Park for almost 3 years now.
Michael, would you like to introduce yourself?
Michael Rosenberg, Regent Park Social Action Group.
Waleed, I think that's it for introductions. Your left.
Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. My name is Walied Khogali Ali, and I'm the resident co-chair for the Regent Park Social Development Plan. I'm also involved with Calling and Miguel and other folks with the Neighborhood Association, and also involved with CBOG and other committees. So we have a wonderful agenda ahead of us. I hope everyone reviewed it in advance of the meeting. If not, we're going to review it together because we need to approve the agenda collectively as a group, okay? So I can quickly share the screen. And what we have here is just a quick reminder, if you're interested in facilitating the meeting, please let Ishmael know and we'll support you facilitate future meetings. If you have any agenda items that you would like to propose to the planning committee, please, there's a document that you can fill or connect with Ishmael with regards to the agenda item, and we'll make sure that it's addressed at the agenda. Is it subcommittee, I guess, or the planning committee that will help prioritize those items so that they're considered at our meetings. We don't have any staff or from the city or the councilor's office today, so we're going to skip that update. But there is an important announcement that we're going to be making related to the SDP refresh that we're going to discuss. So the items that we have so far, and maybe Ishmael can just do a quick reminder of the meeting guidelines before we start. We have the SDP refresh meeting that's coming up, and then we're going to focus most of our meeting time to support the upcoming stakeholders table meeting on July 11th. Okay, so we're going to discuss that. And then we're also going to have a discussion on Sunday in the Park with regards to the budget and the contributions made so far by stakeholders. And we're also going to discuss the status of the business cases that were approved by planning committee and sent to the city to resource. So those are the items for today. So what I'm going to ask is folks, does anyone oppose any of the items? Because we're trying to build consensus on the approval of the agenda. Any opposition to any agenda item? Any changes to the order? Okay, everyone comfortable? Just maybe put your thumbs up so that we know that we've made a decision. Thumbs up, yes, yes.
Could I just propose an addition?
Yes, okay, Ishmael, go ahead before we do the thumbs up. Come on, go ahead. Then we got Sarah Jane next.
No, I just wanted to make an announcement. Should I wait or can I do it now, Waleed?
Listen, do you want to keep us excited to know what you want to announce, or do you want to do it now? What do you prefer?
No, let's keep everyone on their toes. Let's do it afterwards.
Okay, Ishmael, we'll do that in the end. I see Miguel's thumbs up. Sarah Jane, is that a question you have?
It's just thumbs up for the agenda.
Amazing. Thank you, Sarah Jane. Joel, you're next before we move on.
Just wondering if I could add a brief agenda item.
Okay.
That would go after Ismail's announcement.
Okay, okay, we can do that. I'm assuming it's related to the announcement, so
It
we'll wait
is,
till
yeah.
then. Okay, so we're all in agreement that the agenda is good to go. So we've approved the agenda via consensus. There's no one opposed, no one has indicated any other changes. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next item, which is just a quick reminder about the social meeting guidelines, and then we'll talk about the next item, which is gonna be taking most of our time. So quickly, Ishmael, just as a reminder of the meeting guidelines.
Just 1 second, let me share screen again. Okay, so meeting etiquettes. Raise hand to be put on the speakers list to take turns speaking to avoid speaking over each other. Please remain muted unless it is your turn to speak. And please address the issue rather than naming people directly as much as possible.
Okay, I see Joel has a question. Go ahead. Well, that's an old hand, I'm assuming. Okay, so thanks for that reminder. So we're gonna now start talking about our first item, agenda item, and that's related to the SDP refresh. So we did have an announcement last planning committee meeting that there will be a presentation by the consultants related to the SDP refresh. I just want to confirm with everyone that the meeting is actually scheduled for July 16th at 6:30 p.m. and it's going to be at the Regent Park Community Center auditorium. So we'll make sure to circulate this information through the SDP listserv so people are aware of this very important meeting. Also asked the city for a copy of the report or the recommendations in advance of the meeting due to accessibility needs so that folks can review it. And if they have any questions, they want to be able to contribute meaningfully, they will have the time to do so. So that's just a request that came from members of the planning committee. And yes, the meeting is only scheduled for in-person. Thank you, Sherkan, for that question. Okay, so we have Elena first to this with regards to any questions or remarks related to this item. Go ahead, Elena.
Regarding this city staff, concept refresh, meeting. All right, that is at the Regent Park Community Center auditorium, right? Or okay, that's a place that it will be take place, or it is at the City Hall?
It's going to be at the Regent Park Community Center, not at City Hall. It's going to be in the community. That's where the announcement is going to be made.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Miguel, you're next.
Yes, Waleed. I received the same information from Richard and her assistant. And I asked them, can we have the report in advance before the meeting? They said they're looking into it. I guess we should be asking for the report so that we can make proper comments at this meeting. I am very concerned about one of the issues that I mentioned to Richard, that part of the reason that we have in this refresh is because of interpersonal issues with residents. And he said that he acknowledged that part, but what are the roots of that? I don't know. Anyway, I hope we get some report back as soon as possible.
Thank you, Miguel, for sharing your thoughts and your concerns. And I hope that we will receive a copy of the report in advance so that we could discuss it, but we'll find out from the city soon enough. Any other questions or points with regards to this item? No? Okay, my friends, we're all comfortable with this. So I guess we'll move on to the next item. And that's the July 11th stakeholders meeting. So I just want to let you folks know or remind everyone who's a member of the planning committee that we delegated the strategic planning working group with putting together an agenda for the upcoming stakeholders meeting on July 11th. So we'll take a speakers list with regards to this item. Marshida, go ahead.
Sorry, regarding the agenda, the previous agenda item, who's
Okay.
eligible? Like, is anybody able to come in, or just only for the SDP?
Anybody. Encourage
Thanks.
as many residents to show up.
Sure,
This is
thanks.
okay.
Before I put it in the WhatsApp group, that's why I was asking.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Murshida, for all your help getting the word out. Adonis, go ahead.
Yeah, so one of the things for the upcoming stakeholders table meeting is the logistics. And so we know that we have $1,250. I have already reached out for food. I haven't confirmed anything yet, but I already have some options for food. I've already have 2 of the child minding people there. So there's, I think we want to go with 3 people who are there. In terms of where we need people is the registration table is 1. So it would be helpful to have 2 or 3 people at the registration table, and Sarah Jane actually volunteered. Yay, Sarah Jane. So we would be great to have 2 more people at this registration table. And again, that starts at 5. So if you could come in prior to 5, that would be to 4:30 to set up and everything. That would be great. In terms of perhaps we could use 1 other person for catering. Mostly the caterer is going to provide the food, and we'll also be there to help with the food. And we just require I think another person to help with drinks and so on with the caterer. So that would be great to have at least 1 other person there. Other pieces, I can't recall other pieces that are needed so far. But that's what we got so far in terms of logistics.
Yeah, I can continue from there.
Okay, so just before we move on to Elena and Sarah Jane, Michael, do you mind just adding to the points that Adonis made first? You might answer some other questions. Go ahead.
So
Yeah, thank you. Should I
Go
go
ahead,
first?
Michael. No, not yet. Let's hear from Michael first, and then we'll go to you next, Elena. Go ahead.
Okay, so we should probably have somebody agree to either buy, or if their organization already has some supplies, markers, anything else, papers, chart paper, whatever the obvious stuff that you would want to have in terms of supplies. And we need to get, because much of the meeting will be in tables, we need to get approximately 5 facilitators and 5 note takers. So people need to volunteer for that. So the evaluations wants to do the survey probably just before or during the break. So we probably need a couple of people to manage that as well.
Okay, that's some good points. Thank you, Michael. So we'll take note of those specific pieces. Ishmael, if you could help just, so materials, who's going to be doing that? We're identifying roles for the meeting. Okay, go ahead, Michael.
So I put together just not the full agenda, because it will be finalized on Tuesday, but the major content, like the questions that will be in the agenda, and the purpose of the meeting. So that's available. It may still need some change, but it's available to go out as an information package. So Walied should have that. If you can send it to Ishmael, and then if we need to look at it during this meeting, we can. But either way, I mean, there may be other information that should go out, so maybe people want to look at it. But it's a starting point, and I'm sure there's also some sort of standard information that goes out for every meeting. So, but this will be the content of what needs to go out in advance of the meeting. So, if we need to look at it today or otherwise, just send it to Ishmael.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing all those details, Michael. I'm gonna go to Elena next, and Ishmael, I did forward you the email that I received on behalf of Michael, as well. Adonis and other members of the stakeholders table also be getting this as well. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Walied. In regard to Adonis' request for the volunteer, I can do the volunteer. Even I can be at the table for the registration, or maybe give a hand to you for the food distribution or whatever, based on your need and requirement. I can be either of those. I can do help with you as a volunteer, of course.
Thank you so much, Elena. We really appreciate you supporting us in that way and supporting your community. So Elena is going to be helping on the day off. So thank you, Elena. We're now going to move on to, thank you, Elena. We're going to move on to Sarah Jane, and then we're going to have Adonis again, and then Mershida. Go ahead, Sarah Jane.
Okay, do we have a caterer? Did I miss something?
I believe we have, Adonis, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I'm confirming a caterer for Friday, tomorrow.
I'm sorry, for Friday? I'm sorry, you mean the caterer for the SDP meeting, you mean?
Yeah. I'm confirming. I've been connecting with them, and I'll confirm Friday.
Okay, that's good. And I did get a definite $250 from Chartwell, so you can add that to the budget. It's definite.
Thank you so much, Sarah Jane. Thank you for confirming that. So this is $250 for the stakeholders table meeting. Is that what you're confirming?
It's in kind, so we have to decide which we want. I would think he'll send a DJ if we want, or he'll supply water. He can't go into the cash, but it's $250 in kind.
Okay, this is for specific meeting July 11th, not Sunday in the park or any other things, for this meeting, 11th. Yeah, I think, yes, Joel, I assumed it was Sunday in the park.
I meant Sunday in the park, yes.
Okay, you meant Sunday in the park. Okay. So we'll discuss that later on. Thank you so much, Sarah Jane. We'll go back to Adonis, and then Mershida, then Joel. Go ahead, Adonis.
Yeah, Michael, I didn't get your copy, but I also prepared an agenda for the upcoming stakeholders table meeting that perhaps we could look at some point soon. Maybe on Tuesday, but if things have to go out, we have to figure out what's going out, because essentially there's two documents.
Okay, so we are going to be focusing on the stakeholders table meeting on July 11th. So maybe we will have those items shared on the screen. Ishmael, any of you help with that? I believe you have a copy that I just emailed you that came from Michael. And Adonis, did you send that to Ishmael as well?
Ismail, do you have it? I sent it to everybody. Waleed, you have a copy. Joel has a copy. I've already sent it.
Okay, perfect. So let's maybe go through both copies and decide what needs to go out now, because there's a notice provision. And I'm worried at a bare minimum, people should know that the meeting is happening and what's going to be discussed at the meeting. Okay, so we have Mershida and then Joel. Go ahead, Mershida.
Oh, you could, if you need extra help, you could add my name.
Amazing. Mershida likes to volunteer to support the stakeholders meeting on the 11th. Thank you, Mershida. And by the way, anyone who wants to help, please let us know. And then we will be able to delegate a task, and especially if you're available. Okay, we have Joel next.
I'm assuming we'll need somebody to be a contact with the childminders upstairs. So we should figure out who that would be. I can take in various roles, but that's one I've done in the past. And just also on child minding, I'd suggest that we get, I think the two that you have, Adonis, is fine. And that you remain in touch with Ismail. And if it turns out that we have enough kids registered that we're going to need 3, we could get 3. And we had just make sure, like maybe contact a third and say that you'll let them know if we need them. And just for those who are familiar with the parameters or the context around child minding, we have a closed room for child minding on the 3rd floor this time. So we'll be able to ensure that the numbers are contained.
Sorry, Jane, I see your hand up, and then after that, I'll go to the chat to just summarize some comments in the chat. Go ahead, Sarah Jane.
Okay, I will volunteer to be the contact for upstairs since I'm very familiar with child minding.
You might need to go up and down a lot, Sarah Jane. Like it's not maybe a great role for you.
No, I can't do that. I can do it by phone though.
Yeah. Why don't you and I stay in touch, and we can sort of figure out how we handle it.
Okay, and I have something else to add to you about a 3rd person, but I'll do it offline.
So, sorry, just to, okay, go ahead.
Okay, never mind.
Thank you, Sarah Jane. So Caitlin also offered to support the survey completion. So thank you, Caitlin. We'll note that down. We're going back to Adonis, and after the logistics, I think we need to review the agenda or what's going to be sent out, because that's critical and important. So go ahead, Adonis.
Yeah, Joe, I agree with you. I already connected with a 3rd person already. So we actually have 3, but I just haven't confirmed with the 3rd person. So we do have 3 childcare people, and yes, it would be good to have someone who would help to coordinate that.
Okay, so anything related to
Can you repeat that, Adonis? Sorry, I missed that.
We already have 3 people for childcare.
You need one more person?
No, we don't.
No.
We don't need any.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So what is, sorry, what was the coordinate? You already coordinate the child minding. Is that what you said?
No, so Joel suggested we should have a coordinator to help coordinate the childcare in case they need something and they have to run down or anything like that, to check into them regularly. So last time it was forgive me, who it was?
Stella.
Stella. So just that's what we need, is that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I wasn't there last time, but so she did it for me, but I don't have to do it. It could be somebody else.
Yeah,
I think somebody that can go up and down easily.
okay.
Okay, so anyone who's interested in that, please let us know, and we'll give you that responsibility. Okay, so let's go back to the logistics quickly, and then finalize the agenda that needs to go out, and then I think that's gonna take most of our meeting time, and then we'll have a quick update related to Sunday in the Park. So with regards to facilitation, I suspect that the members of the SDP strategic group will be responsible for the facilitation when it comes to like the tables alongside other folks who are interested. But why don't we hear from Adonis first, and then take some feedback from other members of the planning committee. Michael, I'm going to have you go next. So go ahead, Adonis.
Okay, Ismail, do you have the document?
Yes, 1 second. Is this the one you were talking about, Adonis?
No, go to the original document first, I guess.
The original document? Was it an attack?
So there might be 3 different documents being floated around now.
Sorry, Michael. we're gonna go through Adonis's first, the document that he sent to Ishmael, and then we're gonna go through your document next. And then we're gonna see where there's synergy, and then finalize the budget, and finalize the agenda. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Adonis, was it an attachment that you sent?
Yeah, it was an attachment.
Let me check. Oh, you sent it to my other email address, the YSM email address. That's why I don't have it here.
Okay.
One sec. Let me just see if I can open it here. No. Folks, bear with me. I'm bringing it up to the screen. Okay.
I'll just quickly walk people through what I have and then leave it to back, but essentially everyone must register their attendance. Childcare will be on the 3rd floor. It will start with an introduction and welcome, possibly by the, I'm assuming the co-chairs. And they will present the agenda for tonight's meeting. The agenda items, there are 7 agenda items, which is introduction and welcome, the purpose of today's meeting, an introductory quiz, review of the SDP structure. Go back to the agenda. Go back, Ismail. Review of the SDP structure, dinner, breakout group discussions, and closing statements. So if you go to the, so that's the introduction. It's the agenda. I guess approval of the agenda will have to happen with the stakeholders table. And then the purpose of today's meeting, the objective is to let people know why they're there. Did I lose it? Okay. Let people know it's there, remind membership of the previous stakeholders' decision to do strategic planning, a brief explanation of the purpose of the strategic plan, remind membership of the previous April stakeholders meeting, reviewing the accomplishments of the SDP, and then today's meeting is to obtain input from members about the SDP stakeholders table and its role. The next part of this section is the introductory quiz. And it's the objective is to find out what people know about the SDP. We came up with, there are 4 questions. These are just examples. We don't have to go with these questions. Michael might have ideas for what the other question, what the questions could be, but I have as an example, what are the 4 priorities of the working groups of the SDP? How much money yearly was allocated to the community to carry out the SDP priorities? What body is the decision-making group of the SDP? Name 3 committees of the SDP. And then for agenda item number 4 is to review the SDP structure. The objective is to form and remind members of the SDP structure. We presented a slideshow last time around the SDP structure, again, which would show what the SDP is about, the 4 working groups, and then it would show where on a chart where the stakeholders table is, the working groups, and so on. So that was similar to the beginning flip chart that we showed at the last SDP meeting. Then we would break for dinner. And the reason why we're breaking for dinner later is because we found that a lot of people who came in and we started dinner earlier would leave after we had the dinner. Like a lot of people would come, not a lot, but a certain amount of people would come, take the dinner and then leave. I've seen people take dinner and go to the park. For the registration table, we're going to have tickets, and same as we did last time. So the tickets will be there, where if you don't have a ticket, you have to have a ticket to get dinner, but here the dinner is going to be midway. So after the review of the SDP structure, and my understanding from what I heard from Michael is that at that point, we're going to encourage people to do the survey as well during that dinner. And then after dinner, there will be a breakout session where we divide everyone into small groups with note takers and facilitators. And then we're going to ask them questions. And the objective here is to obtain input on how members participate on the SDP and their experience of making decisions. This information we use to inform strategic planning. So again, we're meeting Tuesday to formulate the questions, but why do you come to the stakeholder table meetings? What's your experience of participating at the stakeholders table? How can your experience be improved? What parts of the SDP are you interested in? And then we have, so they could tell us whether it's the 4 working groups, committees, and planning, evaluation, funding, or whatever else, socializing, participation in events or others. Do you read and review the materials prior to meeting? And do you find the information package useful? How are you affected by decisions made by the SDP and its working groups and committees? How do you want to participate in decision making by the SDP and its working groups and committees? What is the questions you have about participation in the SDP as well? And then how are you affected by decisions that are made at the SDP? Then there'll be a closure, final comments on what people thought of today's meeting. Thank members for attending and remind about upcoming announcements, particularly the refresh on July the 16th and any working group meetings that are happening. So that's what I have for the agenda for the meeting. And essentially, there's a summary of that I sent to Ismail that could go out, namely with the questions to reflect on, but basically with the agenda items as well, and what the meeting's about.
Thank you, Adonis. So Michael, before we go through the document you shared with us, I'm going to ask members of Planning Committee if they have any questions for Adonis with regards to his proposed agenda that we will be considering today. Elena, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Walied, and thank you, Adonis. It is very well prepared. But just, my concern is about the break, between the, agenda, means the whole program. How we can make sure, even if the people, they are going, to the, for example, dinner break, after that they are not leaving immediately, or maybe those that they get the, for example, the tickets for the dinner, they are not going out and they come, at the end of the program. So this is a bit, unreally realistic, I feel. But the most important things is if we want to put our questionnaire and actually introductory, session after the, dinner, if really the people will stay with us or not, that's a question also. So I want to know, how the things are going on. Thank you very much.
Excellent questions, Elena. Thank you so much. Adonis, do you have a response to that?
Well, we can't force people to stay, as you know. All we could do is at least they have some investment in the meeting, knowing that they're not just coming for, often people come because their kids are upstairs in the music hall and then they register and everything. So this way, they gotta be there for at least for the first part of the meeting. And before, so there's some kind of investment anyways. But yeah, we can't stop people from walking out after they have their dinner, unfortunately.
So I am sorry, just, just interrupt you again. don't you think it would be better when we do the registration, we give them the survey and, some people, manage those before even
A
the
good idea.
program starts?
That's a great
It would be
idea. The
better than,
survey,
after the dinner.
the survey could be definitely done at the registration when they come in as well. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. So before we move on to Sarah Jane and Miguel, I just want to welcome new participants to our planning committee meeting today. So welcome Gail and welcome Halima. Do both of you want to quickly say hi to members of the planning committee and quickly introduce yourself to new members?
Hi guys, I'm Halima. I work at Pathways Regent Park. Hello, and thank you for having me.
And
Thank you, Halima. Appreciate your presence today.
thank
Gail?
you.
Gail, are you with us? Okay, we'll go back to Gail when Gail's unmuted. Okay, so going back to the speakers list, we have Sarah Jane and then Miguel. Sarah Jane, go ahead. You're muted, Sarah Jane. Just unmute yourself, please.
I've got it. Sorry, I keep unmuting. But I wanted to ask Adonis, how much time have you got for the break? And I would consolidate some of these questions. I think there's too many questions unless they're going to be divided into subjects according to the group. So I'm willing to help with that if you want to do that. But there are too much divided into groups for. Were you thinking of having groups divided according to subjects?
So these are just samples of the questions. The SDP strategic planning session will formalize the questions when they meet on Tuesday. They're just examples of the questions. I think Michael definitely has some changes regarding the questions, but these are just, don't take this as the ones that we will ask. We may not have time for all those, as you had said.
How much time have you planned for the out?
It's 2 hours. The meeting's 2 hours. So we're hoping that we get through the first part of it in 45 minutes and then have a 15-20-minute break for dinner. And then the next essentially hour will be for the breakout rooms.
Okay, thank you.
That's my thinking.
Thank you, Sarah Jane, for your questions. We're going to go to Miguel next, and then Michael, I'm going to invite you to go through the document that you shared with us by email. Miguel, go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So I've been attending this SDP planning meetings, and I just have one question. Are the co-chairs are all in one sync of mind? Are they all in agreement? Do they understand the roles and responsibilities? Are they all in cohesive unity? Are they going to be one going off the road and the other person's voting in yes and the other person voting no? Are we going to have something like that as the last SDP stakeholders table meeting? I'm just concerned. I like the plan. I like the agenda. It's just my only concern is that leadership, the unity, the leadership is my concern. Have you guys solved that problem? Have we solved it? That is question. Thank you.
I'll answer that question, my friend. We don't have an item for decision making at this meeting. So there will be no voting. There was an idea to have an item related to Sunday in the Park, but that was moved to the planning committee. So it's not going to be considered the stakeholders table. So I don't anticipate that scenario playing out. We will be seeking input from residents about the strategic planning, and we're going to welcome all ideas. We're going to take that information to inform the final recommendations that are going to be considered by the community through future stakeholders meeting. And we're also going to be gathering information on July 16th from the consultants who have been contracted by the city to support the SDP refresh process. With regards to cohesiveness amongst the co-chairs, that is work in progress. We will be hopefully meeting as co-chairs prior to the upcoming stakeholders table. I will be reaching out to my fellow co-chairs, both Gail and Ines, to ensure that we have we have an understanding of the roles we will be playing at the upcoming stakeholders meeting on July 11th. But thank you, Miguel, for sharing your concerns.
I think that's very important, Walied. I think it's very important because last time it was really a bad show. Thank you.
Understood, Miguel. Okay, we're gonna go to Sher Khan next. Go ahead, Sher Khan.
Michael's next, by the way, but yeah.
Yeah, this is questions related to this, but then Michael's gonna go through the document. So I just want to make sure we take all the questions now related to your presentation. Sher Khan, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I really liked the presentation, just the outline of it. Just wanted to know more information about what do we want to discuss in the breakout sessions? How do we want to organize it, or who's facilitating that? That would be better, and how whether it's like dinner and then breakout sessions in combination of both. That would be nice for people to mingle and also discuss if that's even open to that. And in terms of survey disclosure, is that available on paper or online as well, so people can fill it out at their own time? That's one thing I wanted to mention. And another thing, in terms of giving away anything, I believe this was the meeting where we discussed that we would give away the gift cards for the groceries, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. First clarify that, and then I will add something else to my comment.
Yeah, so I'm not aware. Certainly, there could be prizes that for the quiz that we could give away, and certainly there could be other random prizes. So if we have those prizes, something that the strategic planning group on Tuesday could talk about and meet. I'm not aware what prizes we have, so that would be helpful to know. Again, we will be looking for facilitators for each of the breakout groups. I imagine there will be at least 4 minimum, I guess. But we're looking for facilitators for each of the working groups that will happen. The idea for the 20-minute break is that people would go to the lineup to get their food, and then they would come back at their tables in their groups and begin the discussion while they are eating. And hopefully the note takers could get there first and the facilitators of the groups could eat first. But the idea is that if they still need to eat, that could still happen while the discussions are going on.
Okay, and in terms of the survey, I'm not sure if you answered that one. Is it also available online, or is it in paper? Are we collecting it? Who's collecting it? What are we doing with that information? And is it accessible to me as someone from Dixon Hall as well, or just general? What are we doing with these surveys? I'm just curious.
Excellent question, Sher Khan. I'm going to invite Caitlin from the Evaluations and Benchmark Committee to answer your question, and then we'll move on to Elena after you're done. Okay, so Caitlin, go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my camera, so I'm gonna leave it off. Great question, Sher Khan. So these surveys are from the Evaluation and Benchmarks Committee. There are SDP surveys. We will have a table with at least 1 laptop where people can do it digitally if they so choose. We'll also have some printed copies for accessibility purposes. And this is really to collect information about the SDP, something that we do every year. There is room for those who are agency staff to fill out the survey as well. Like that's a section of the survey. So yeah, we will have digital options, we'll have physical options. Anything that needs to be collected, like physical copies, I can collect and then transcribe that information into our virtual copy. Just so we have it all in the same place, but that's something that the Evaluation and Benchmarks Committee can facilitate.
Yeah, and thank you for answering that. One more thing, sorry, I don't want to keep bugging with the questions. In terms of just the, since I don't know if you answered that, are these surveys shared with the community, or how is that being translated to us or anyone who wants to know, like if I was a community member and I filled out the survey, what's the follow-up steps? What are we doing to ensure that these members who filled it out, they're aware of like what they did, what was like the trends, or what are the after steps to that, if that makes sense?
Yeah, great question. So at the beginning of this year, we went to every working group and committee and reported back on their specific data. So like, for example, we went to communications and told them about data collected from communications, evaluations about evaluations, safety about safety. We've written a report that is ready to be given out. I was actually going to suggest that we put up QR codes and print a couple of physical copies for accessibility needs to have at the stakeholders table meeting, so that if people are curious about all the data that was collected and everything we learned about the SDP, they have access to that free and clear.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And one last thing for Adonis, I know we mentioned that how do we get people to stay after the dinner? If there's any giveaways, we can mention that if you stay after obviously the full sessions, we're doing a giveaway, whether it's a gift card, whatever it is. I think that would be a good tactic to get people to stay in and wait and finish the whole meeting, if there's a purpose for that.
Great suggestion. Great suggestion. And just a reminder, it is all in-person meeting.
Can I go for my question?
Yes, sorry, Lena. Sorry, Lena,
No,
got
it's
cut.
okay.
So this is a question
Yeah.
to Adonis, right?
Yes, to Adonis.
Okay. Michael, thank you for being patient. Go ahead, Elena.
Yeah, thank you. I want to know, how is the layout? For example, are we keeping the tables as, for example, usually we are going and at the Daniel Spectrum, there are tables and chairs, or we make it like a previous time, only the chairs. I have noticed, during a dinner break, people have a problem of the eating their food because there is no table at all. If we can lay out the other tables, because the tables are available in the other part of the salon, it would be very good. At least they can use and utilize the table to eating, and then they can come back and just sit in the salon for the program and agenda. That would be really good. Rather than going to the park and sit, they can have a chair and a table, as a comfort, they can use it. Thank you. It was just a suggestion, but if we can arrange it, it would be very good. Thank you.
Great suggestion. I'll bring that back to the committee, but yeah, it would be great to pre-arrange all the tables and everything right at the beginning. So yeah, we'll definitely bring that up.
Thank you.
Okay, so now since there's no other questions for Adonis, thank you, Adonis. We're now going to move on to the document that was shared by Michael. So Michael, do you want to lead us through that document? And let's just make sure it's on the screen. Ishmael, let us know when you're ready, and then Michael can guide us through the document. Just 1 second, Michael. Okay. As soon as Ishmael gives us the green light, so people can see what you're talking about. So just be patient for a second.
Okay. So while you're doing that, I'll just go on with some of the sort of other logistical items that were mentioned. So I think we would have to have the table set up like throughout the meeting, because people are going to spend most of their time in the table. So even when they're listening to the whole group, they would still be sitting at the tables. I think we should have a meeting for the facilitators of the tables, which doesn't have to be the same as the meeting for the co-chairs or the overall facilitators. So if Walied can arrange the overall facilitators to meet, we still probably should set a time either earlier on Thursday or on Wednesday for the table facilitators to meet. I think we're going to have like a detailed sort of step-by-step, like the order of the questions, how they will be asked, like, are we going in a round, or are we doing it in pairs or whatever, like a very detailed facilitation step by step for the table. So it'd be good if the facilitators could meet beforehand to go over that. Obviously, we'll also have to have slides for the two presentation parts, the introduction and the SDP structure, but I think that's no problem. And now going on to the document that I wrote, which is essentially covers the same material as Adonis, so they could be either combined in some way or mostly use one or the other. So it's basically, it states the purpose of the meeting and the purpose of strategic planning, and where we are in the process, and then it lists the questions. I didn't put a detailed agenda because that will still be sort of settling that on Tuesday. So I don't know if we want to go with as much detail in the agenda or not, or if there's a general preference for the one version or the other, what you see the two versions here, because they're much the same. The only thing I would say, if we're mostly using one or the other, is that I would like to include the initial sections there about the short summary of the meeting purpose and the summary of the strategic planning purpose. So those two, I think, should go in. The rest of it, I think it's a choice whether you want to use the more like the version I did or the version Adonis did, because the actual content of the questions is almost identical between the two. So it's really just a question of amount of detail and formatting. But I would like to make sure we keep the strategic plan purpose and the meeting purpose in sort of just those two sentences version of them, the bullet points, just a very quick version of that to make sure we at least include that. And the rest of it, I think we could go with either version because they're really just different amounts of detail, but they're basically the same.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but as long as we do include the purpose statements, then I'm okay with either one. So just make sure you see those two purpose statements. The meeting purpose is to discuss the stakeholders table and the SDP decision making in the context of the strategic plan. The strategic plan purpose is the bullet points about planning, improvements, partnerships, the bullet points that were raised as the purpose of the strategic plan. So I'd like to just make sure that paragraph is definitely included. And then the rest of it, you can either go on with the version I provided or put the rest of Adonis's version after that. Okay, so yeah, I'd like to see that we have a facilitation prep meeting. And the break, I guess there was some discussion of a couple different points where the break could go, but I don't think that dramatically alters things. So it could go in. But the thing I did want to mention is that the questions themselves were broken into two major sections, which correspond to the two sections listed as the purpose of the meeting. So that means that they are somewhat grouped in that sense. They're not just sort of a whole bunch of questions being thrown at people. So even if we do the breakouts, there will be sort of a first section and a second section. So it's not as, it's not just a series of questions with no structure or aim or whatever. There's two distinct sections to the questions. We could either put the break before we get into the questions or between those two sections, which would put the break a little bit later in the meeting. But the questions are in two sections, and I mean, there's maybe one or two questions that I could see removing, but I don't think I don't think we can remove too many of them. I believe there's about 7 questions now, and they are in 2 sections. So it's like basically three questions per section. Maybe one could be removed at somewhere from that sort of system. So I think it's intended to basically be structured into 2 sections, so it won't just be a long series of questions. Right. So yeah, the wording that goes out today. Yeah, I just want to make sure we do include the description of what the strategic plan is and the major bullet points for what the meeting purpose is, and then like the amount of detail that goes into the agenda and the questions. I could go either way on that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you,
But
Michael.
I think we should actually set a time for the facilitation prep.
Oh, yes, well, we're going to do that.
Out of today's meeting, so that we know we're trying to pull people into that meeting, and because it's going to take, like, we will need about like 8 to 10 people. So it's going to take some like work between now and then to actually round up the people, and they need to have a particular time that they're expected to show up so we can do the rounding up.
Okay, so why don't we first of all confirm what's going to go out, and then we'll set that meeting, and I have a proposal to make with regards to the date and time. Ishmael, I have a question for you, my friend. Are you comfortable with the language that has been proposed so far with regards to what needs to go out as a notice piece? And I see Joel also wants to contribute to this conversation. So Joel, why don't you go first, and then we'll confirm the language that's going to go out.
No, Ismail can go ahead. I have my point is on the questions, but just go ahead with that if you want.
Okay. So Ishmael, are you comfortable with what needs to go in the notice?
So what I gathered is Adonis also shared a poster of some sort that will also be going out, which is not to be confused with the poster that was already sent out for this meeting, but this is just a for information piece. And now I'm gathering that Michael wants these 2 purpose statements included in that. And I'm guessing that's also going to serve as a report for information that people receive a week prior to the meeting.
Yeah.
Adonis, could you just confirm that that's what you meant, that you did send out another document that needs to be sent out? Like a public facing document?
Adonis?
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, I don't think the poster needs to be changed. It has, there's only so much information you could put on the poster. It has much of the details. That it's a strategic planning session. So it has the basic information. There was what I suggested, there was an email that has the agenda items, as I speculated, the 1 to 7 items on the agenda. And again, I have no problems with Michael's purpose and what the strategic plan that could be all integrated into the, I think it was agenda number 2, I believe, where we said what the purpose is about. So whether you want to present that as on the video or as a statement, I don't see any problems with that. But in terms of it doesn't change the agenda items, there's already a purpose on the agenda that I put in. So that's that. So there is an email that I prepared. I didn't know you were going to come back in time, but there was an email that I prepared that has basically what the meeting is about. So Michael's piece could be put in the email itself. Yeah. That's no problem. And then I just have the questions there for people to reflect about ahead of time. I suggested putting the questions, not the quiz questions, but the questions that we will ask them at the breakout session so that they can be prepared to answer that. So that could be in the email itself that goes out. So essentially it will be the agenda items, and the information about where it is, place, time, whatever, the agenda items, and then the questions we want to people to reflect upon.
Okay, hello?
Michael, you want to add something to that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want, let's just keep these different items separate. Like the poster is the poster, the meeting information package is the meeting information package, and the more detailed agenda that will appear on the day of is the day of information. So let's just keep those things separate. I wasn't asking for any of this more detailed information to be put on the poster. Of course, it wouldn't go on the poster. It's for the information package that goes out. So I just want to make sure that it doesn't just say agenda item, purpose of the meeting. It actually contains the purpose of the meeting in the information package. So I would put those two sections right at the beginning, and then follow that with the agenda.
The purpose, yeah, I get it. We understand that.
So that's for the information package, where we just need to include those purpose statements, and then figure out, how much of the detail of the agenda goes in there. It could be more of the detail. So as long as the information package starts with the purpose, then I think it's fine. And then you can put in as much, and definitely to include the questions, which are in both my version and Adonis's version. So whichever version of that you use, it's going to contain the questions. So I think that it's just, there's much less difference between the two than I might have thought, considering that we both kind of did this independently because we knew it had to be available for today. But we basically came up with almost the same thing. The only real opinion I have on the matter is that the document should start with the purpose.
Point taken, Michael. Point taken. Understood.
So basically that's that, and the poster is a separate item, which I haven't really involved myself in at all, so I'm hoping other people are taking care of that. And then the materials for the day of, so I'm going to be working on a facilitation guide for the tables, and some slides, and I don't know if we need a chance to go over this. I don't think we're going to be doing that level of detail on Tuesday. So at some point we're going to have a facilitation meeting. I would be willing to do it earlier on Thursday. I don't think it needs to be a lot in advance, but if people would prefer Wednesday, we can pick a time on Wednesday as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Ishmael with this question. Are we all on the same page on what will go out in the notice piece?
Correct. We are. So Adonis mentioned that he has begun putting together a report for information. I'll use that. I'll include Michael's purpose statements in that report for information, and that will then get sent out after this meeting.
Excellent.
Yeah. I think that is it.
Okay, perfect. So we're all on the same page. Now, before we go to Joel, I just want to address the facilitation meeting. So I would like to propose that we meet on Wednesday, the day before, at 5:30. I think people will need some time to digest what is expected from the facilitation at the table level, instead of it's rushed, it happens just before the meeting. So maybe we could put that in the calendar. And how many?
I would really think that the facilitation meeting should be in person, so that we can.
It is going to be in person. It is going to be in person. Daniel Spectrum. We're going to book a room for 5:30. And we're going to invite co-chairs and volunteers from the planning committee to join us for that meeting. So maybe one other task that we could add is to send a separate email to the SDP listserv saying if you want to volunteer to support the facilitation of the meeting on July 11th, we invite you to a meeting on Wednesday, July, what's the date? Wednesday, July what? 10th, I guess?
So the evening of the 10th, there's a bunch of events and stuff going on?
What event is happening on the 10th that you're aware of?
Taste of Regent Park.
Yes. So maybe we could all get some food. And, so if we try to keep it within an hour, so start from 5:30 to 6:30, we can allow folks the opportunity to go to mingle at Taste of Regent Park. Is that okay with, what do folks think about that proposal? Joel, on that item, would you like to speak? If not, I will move on to Elena.
My question is about one of the questions. Was the idea that these questions would be reviewed on Tuesday for the and that today is not the time to review them? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, last Tuesday we'd sort of agreed on the questions, but I mean they can be slightly modified on this Tuesday.
This Tuesday, yeah. Well, that's the space. Okay, go ahead, Elena.
Thank you very much. It is regarding the Wednesday, means July 10, 4:30 to 6. I have a class, so if we can make it 6, for example, 5:45, I can just quit a little bit early and I can join you. That would be great. Rather than 5:30, I don't want to miss the meeting.
Okay, why don't we start at 6 and end at 7, an hour?
Perfect.
And that way, like, people don't feel rushed to attend. Is that okay, Elena?
I love it. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
we'll cap it for 1 hour, 6 to 7, so folks can go to the Taste of Regent Park and have a good time with their fellow neighbors. Okay, so that's, does anyone have
a location?
Daniel Spectrum? We need to book. I can help facilitate that, booking a space for that day. Either one of the meeting rooms, meeting room 1 or 2. Worst case scenario, we'll meet in the community living room. And then we can send the details as a reminder by the end of this week. So Friday or Monday, early next week, just as a reminder. How many of us, I'm going to pose this question, how many of us can support the facilitation at the table? So we've got Elena that's interested. Anyone else as member of planning committee? That will be able to join us on Wednesday next week at 6 o'clock. Shesna, Colin, Gail, Rashida, Miguel. I'm looking to you folks.
I'll come as a resident and as a representative of Focus Media Arts.
Amazing, Kedar. Thank you, Kedar. Anyone else? Okay, not myself. Okay, Colin can't make it. Anyone else who I just want to make sure if there's interest on planning committee first. Anyone else? Hey, listen, if you do come out, I might get you some dinner at Taste of Regent Park, man. It's an incentive. Was interested?
I won't be able to. I may be busy anyway with the child minding. Also, I'm not able to attend a Wednesday evening meeting. So.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joel, for that feedback. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Marshida, Gail, haven't heard back from you yet. Kathleen, I know is going to be supporting the surveys piece.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Miguel, let us
Yes,
know
sir.
if you're interested.
What are you looking for? Sorry, it was
We're looking for help with facilitation at the meeting itself. And we're hoping to have an informal meeting, well, a meeting to discuss what we're going to be doing on Wednesday from 6 to 7. And we don't have an RPNA board meeting next week, so that should be open.
I'm helping with the registration.
Oh yeah, you are. Thank you so much. After registration, Rashida. Okay, I am going to do my part to try to recruit some residents to help us and join us on Wednesday, okay? If you know anyone who's interested, Joel, I'm not sure if you've got any folks working through Canada Summer Jobs that could be supportive of the SDP. I wish we hired those students before the stakeholders meeting. We had about 2 ambassadors funded, but I will check with the youth in the community to see if someone wants to help and gain some new skills. Okay, so at least we've confirmed the date, we've confirmed the location, and we've confirmed the time, and we've confirmed some members of planning committee that could help. If anyone else is interested, please let Ishmael know, or let one of us know so we can make sure that you're supported. Okay, my friends, I think we're done with this item. So let's maybe stop sharing the screen. And we're going to move on to the next item, which is, and we're going to discuss the facilitation piece on Wednesday, so it should be good. So July 16th, we all know about this meeting. I don't think we need to speak more about this, and we're going to be recruiting folks. We're going to get a quick update with regards to Sunday in the Park from the planning committee, and then we're going to move on to the next item before we end our meeting. Go ahead, Joel. 6:25, we got good time.
Sorry, I was just following up on a piece of the meeting. What was it? What is it you want me to speak to?
Sunday in the Park update.
So we are continuing to seek funding for Sunday in the Park. The planning committee has decided that we will make a decision on July 16th, whether we have enough funding to carry forward with the event. Our goal as a minimum is to raise about $17,000, and we've raised so far about I believe 7,500 to 8,000, somewhere in that range. So we have about 9,000 to go. We have the city has offered from the operating funds, has offered from SDP funds, that specifically the $50,000 a year amount, which is for operating funds. They've said that they can offer $1,500 of those funds for in sort of along the theme of barrier reduction, I think is the main sort of purpose that they used, but it's just $1,500 that they're offering. They've also said that they could offer up to $1,250 if we're could see using some of the stakeholders table money. Apparently they've allocated $1,250 for each of 4 stakeholders tables meeting. And this was discussed, I wasn't at this meeting, it was a few weeks ago. So if I'm getting it wrong, please just correct me. My understanding is that there was a decision to ask the city not to use that money for Sunday in the Park, but that could be revisited if we felt that we wanted to after we heard back from the city. And so our we ended up with the meeting. I mean, we thought that $1,500 was not very much money, as a sort of a kind of seeing it as a seed money also, that this, like, if the money that the city offers is money we could perhaps build on from other sources of funding. So we thought that we would come back here and say that we would like to ask for $1,000 additional from the city through that stakeholders table funding to bring the city total to 2,500. And based on that, then we would go to other sources of funding, like the private developers, possibly TCHC, that might be a bit of a separate thing, and banks, and see if they would be willing to match the funding that the city has offered. We don't have other sources that would reach that are that much. The most we've had pledged from these other sources is $1,000. So it's just a hope that we could maybe use that as a leverage and perhaps gain enough funding to carry forward. So that's the proposal. And so the question to the planning committee is, would you be open to allocating $1,000 from stakeholders table money?
Okay.
I have questions.
So Michael, you'll go next after Miguel. Miguel, it's thumbs hand up, so he wants to speak first. So go ahead, Miguel. Then we'll go to Michael. And please try to speak to the proposal itself that Joel just made, which is, should we allocate $1,000 from one of the stakeholder meetings to Sunday in the Park, bringing the grand total to 2,500. That's what we're trying to decide today. So go ahead, Miguel.
No, I don't have a comment with regards to this proposal of transferring funds from one row to another row on the balance sheet. I have more questions about if we didn't have the SDP refresh today as it is, would this community will have had the Sunday in the Park without these difficulties and challenges that we are facing today? And that is the only question I have, because I will ask those questions when we meet with Richard and staff, because there appears to give us, a little bit of cash, but it's not enough. And yeah, that's all I had to say. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Miguel. Going now to Michael and then Adonis. Michael, go ahead.
Okay, so is the possibility of getting 2,500 based on only on the idea of taking $1,000 out of the stakeholders table, or was this is that basically the same proposal? There was no other proposal on the table that they would increase their amount? Like, is the 1,500 their final answer unless we take it out of the stakeholders table?
Joel's been in contact with Richard and Gladys. So Joel, do you want to answer that?
Well, the planning committee didn't talk about seeking other funding, but what we talked about in the Sunday in the Park organizing committee was seeking that additional $1,000 because the city had already said that they'd be willing to do it.
But you're not making that clear whether you mean an additional 1,000 or you mean the 1,000 that was going to come out of the stakeholders table.
The 1,000 that was going to come out of the stakeholders table.
So there's no other additional 1,000 that's even on the table. It's either 1,500 or 2,500, and then we lose 1,000 from the stakeholders table.
That's what's on the table right now. Yeah.
Okay. So my other question is the 1,500 included in the 7,500?
I don't know that there even is a 7,500 this year. None of that is clear to me.
No, but you said the total amounts confirmed is 7,500.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, yes, the 1,500 is included. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, there's no other, go back to the city and ask for another 1,000. It's ask for them to transfer 1,000 out of the stakeholders' table budget and put it into Sunday in the Park. All right.
That's the proposal at the moment.
And I'm still mostly against that.
Okay, Adonis, go ahead.
We are using this stakeholders table as part of our strategic development. So that's July 11th. We know that the city is coming out with a July the 16th. We know we have to talk to our members, discuss whatever proposals on the table, and go back to the stakeholders table on another meeting. And we know we have to come back related to our findings from the strategic development to basically talk about the recommendations and get them passed by the stakeholders table. So that I see that as three meetings, like one we already had, to July 11th, coming back after July 16th at some point to talk about what has been proposed on July 16th, and maybe we could do that in concert with our report back on strategic development, depends on when it's finished, and then one where we try to finalize whatever directions we're going. So I really would be opposed to using stakeholder table money for Sunday in the Park.
Thank you, Adonis. Caitlin, you're next, and then I have a proposal to put forward from what I've heard so far. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Thanks, Walied. I'm actually very much in support of using stakeholder table funds to fund Sunday in the Park. I've only been to 2 Sunday in the Parks. One as a staff, one as just an attendee. And both times I was shocked with the number of people who were there. Young and old, people playing, people listening to a DJ, getting henna done, in line for ice cream, in line for food. I was just so amazed how a community can come together for such a beautiful event. It is really unfortunate, sort of the funding issues we're running into right now. But I do think that stakeholders table meetings are fantastic. They're very important, especially for all this work that we do. But when I think about impact, I think about how amazing is it to be able to say, hey, look at this SDP event that all of these people are at. City of Toronto, how can you think about not giving us funding next year when you see all of these lives that are being touched by this activity, all these people that are getting honoraria for the good work they're doing, all the hamburgers and hot dogs and ice cream cones that get handed out to everyone who's there. I see what Adonis is saying about requiring this money to have further stakeholder table meetings. So I'm thinking, I know this is not to the original point, but maybe we use the funds from the stakeholders table for Sunday in the Park and look for funding from some agency organization friends to support a stakeholders table meeting. Maybe we have one stakeholders table meeting that's fully virtual, so we don't have the costs associated with it. I think there are some ways we can work around this if we need to. So I do support using the funds for Sunday in the Park. Thanks.
Okay, so we've heard some from members of planning who are in favor of the allocation of the $1,000 budget for the stakeholders meeting in the fall to Sunday in the Park, and we've heard from members who are opposed. So we can try to build consensus by hearing from other folks and some counter proposals to make it viable, or we can make a decision today. And then we'll have to follow our terms of reference to make sure that we abide by the stipulations. So does anyone else want to speak to this item or has any other proposal? Noting that we have our next strategic planning meeting next week on the 11th, and Sunday in the Park Planning Committee's meeting on the 16th, the week after. So prior to, before another planning committee meeting to consider it again. So this is the meeting that we need to actually decide on how to move forward. Sherkan, go ahead.
Hi, do we have like a list of all of the people or organizations that normally like donate to us or not even donate, fund us? Is there a way I can like see what we've done so far and how can we expand that list? Because the issue here is that we don't have, sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, you're saying so the list of donors, right?
Yeah, either donors or even government agencies, like how, like where are we getting these funding from? How often do we get them? And I'm just trying to see if we can expand that, the list from, yeah, I think there's like opportunities there. Just, I don't read the list. I don't know who are these people that funds this committee exactly. So if maybe somebody can organize that and send it over, I would love to sit with my team as well to see what we can do and what sources or people we normally also get funded from. How can we sort of adapt that here to the community as well?
Sure, Khan. Thank you so much for looking into whether Dixon Hall can support this Sun in the Park event. Joel did share a spreadsheet in the chat, so I'll recommend you look at that. I think it sums up what the commitments are so far. We are looking for support also from our elected reps, so our MP, Minister Marcy Ian, our MPP Christine Wong Tam, and Councillor Moise, to ensure that we receive some feedback on how to best resource Sunday in the Park. And maybe this is something we can also discuss on July 16th, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure. Just one more thing. I just opened the list. I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry about that. But is
no
there
worries.
a way we can add more description to it? Like what the funding would be? Maybe like in short sentences, like what do we want to use this fund for? That way I have an idea when I'm introducing it to my team. I can be like, these are like the items that they need it for. That would really help me also to sort of facilitate my ask from my team as well.
Excellent feedback. Thank you, Sherkan. I'll now take it back to Joel.
Hello.
Michael, I'll put you on the speakers left after Joel, and then we're going to have to make a determination on how to move forward. So Joel, go ahead.
So as not to take more time, thanks so much for your interest, Cher. I'll follow up with you offline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael?
Okay, yeah, you could probably like work with Joel on that for the short term, but also hopefully after our strategic plan, if not sooner, we would expect to be able to restart the funding committee and maybe put some more organized effort into this beyond just Sunday in the Park, like for funding for many aspects of the SDP.
Okay, excellent. Okay, good suggestion. Thank you so much, Michael. Okay, my friend, so I don't see a counter proposal or an amendment to the proposal. We need to make a determination today on whether to allocate $1,000 from the stakeholders meeting to Sunday in the Park. So I'm gonna ask folks a simple question. Are you in favor of allocating $1,000 from a future stakeholders meeting to Sunday in the Park? And you can make your position known either by putting your hand up in the screen and you can speak to it, or put it in the chat. I'm just gonna see how many folks are in favor and how many folks are against. So please communicate your position. And I'm gonna go around. Miguel, are you in favor?
Yes, sir. I am in favor.
Okay, Miguel is in favor. So TCHC, sorry, Jane is in favor. Dawn is not in favor. Sherkan, Michael is not in favor.
Well, you don't have to, like, I'm not going to sort of stick to that. Like, that would be my preference, but if the consensus is to do it, then I'm not like, basically I'm abstaining from any consensus.
Okay, just
I'll
express
go
yourself.
with either one.
Yeah, I see
So
what you're
you
saying.
don't need to count me for or against really at this point.
Okay, we've got Colin saying yes. Thinks it's makes sense. Anyone else? Marshida, Gail, Elena, please share your perspective.
Yes, I have no any objection. That would be good, especially during the summer. It would be fun also. Yeah, I am in favor.
Okay. Gail, Marshida?
I'm not sure yet. Sorry. I don't know what to,
You gotta make a hard decision, Marshida. Come on.
I know. I'll wait. Just give me a few. I don't know.
Okay. Abstaining from Sherkan. Okay. we need to have a double majority. We need a majority of TCC no for me. Okay, Gail is opposed.
Well, I mean, Gail is still opposed?
Yeah, Gail is opposed.
Okay.
Joel is in favor. We're gonna have to make a decision. Okay.
Opposed.
So said that.
So
Did we hear from Sarah Jane? I can't remember. Sarah Jane.
Okay,
did you-
Kedar is opposed. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in
Okay.
favor. Joel,
Sarah Jane is in favor. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so let's do a quick tabulation. Ishmael, are you
Yep.
with us?
Yes,
Could
I
you
am.
just pull out the terms of reference so I don't want to make a mistake because we have 13
Gail's
minutes.
asking what we're voting about.
We're voting on whether to allocate $1,000 from a stakeholders meeting to Sunday in the Park.
Oh, yeah, that's a no.
No. Okay. Gail is not in favor. Yeah. Okay. So just pull that out, please.
Yes,
You can.
working on it.
Thank you so much, brother.
No worries.
Oh, wait a second, I'm waiting for a hand now. Oh, geez.
And we're gonna move on to the next item soon. Don't worry. Adonis will take your comment next. I just want to see where people are at. And I'm just gonna explain the decision-making process, okay?
You could, yeah, so you could see what people are at. I have no problems with that. I guess trying to reach a consensus on this, I'll throw in an amendment that it's not $1,000, that it's $500. And that the $500, that means that we cut at least $100 and maybe $25 from each of the next stakeholders meeting. So the 3 stakeholders meeting that we have, we try to make up that money by cutting the budgets as much as possible. That means by cutting childcare, maybe finding a volunteer, cutting maybe less food, not so. That's what I suggest, that we do the rest of the 3 stakeholders table to budget $500.
Okay, point taken. Proposal understood. Okay, so I'm gonna request members of planning committee to speak to the amendment that's or the proposal put forward by Adonis to try to build consensus. So instead of giving $1,000 to Sun in the Park, it's $500 as long as their budget changes to future stakeholder meetings to accommodate that $500. So anyone like to speak to that?
Well, the good thing about it is it's not like putting in jeopardy an entire meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Michael, anyone else? Okay, so for us to make a decision at planning committee, we have to follow the terms of reference, and it's similar to the stakeholders table. So we need a majority of residents present must vote in favor, and also a majority of residents, again, with grassroots groups, organizations must vote in favor. So you have to have a double majority.
Wait.
Okay, so I'm going to first.
But you should first ask if there's consensus on the amendment.
Yes. I just want to explain to people first so they understand. The expectation is a double majority of residents, and a majority of the votes altogether. Okay, so there is now an amendment. So I want to ask people to speak to that amendment, and if we can't build consensus on the amendment, we'll go back to the main proposal. So Sarah Jane, go ahead.
I don't want childcare eliminated under any circumstances, and I will do it free.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Jane, for volunteering. Do that. Okay, anyone else like to speak to the proposal?
I will participate and join for that day, Waleed. So you don't need to remind me, invite me to join in. However, I don't have anything to offer in terms of donation in kind or gift cards or anything like that, but hopefully I will be able to facilitate anything that is feasible for me to do.
Okay. So let me now check in with the residents where they're at, because we need a double majority. So looking at the,
You would need a majority if there was consensus.
we'll make a decision.
So you
Yeah.
do have to check that first.
Yeah, I will check for consensus first, but I just want to check in with the residents that have made their positions known. Yay or nay? Are you comfortable with the proposal first? Okay. So I'm gonna ask the folks that have indicated support for the $1,000 and those who did not indicate support. So I see a couple of folks. So I'm looking to Colin, to Gail, to Mershida. Mershida, you abstained on this. What are your thoughts of the proposal made by Adonis? Please share your perspective. And then we have Joel.
The 500 is a good compromise to me.
Okay, so Colin is comfortable with that compromise of $500. Gail? Miguel, are you comfortable with the proposal or not?
Yes, I answer.
Yes. Okay, so we're building consensus amongst the residents. That's good. Gail?
Is this the $500 or $1,000?
$500.
Okay, but the child care has to be crossed out. It won't be eliminated. That's what Joel told me. So, and I'll do it free.
Okay, so you have a small amendment to that proposal, which is don't cut childcare.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we've taken that in. Joel, you want to speak to this?
I just thought maybe this would be a friendly amendment, just to make it, if we're talking about three. Oh no, we're talking about two more stakeholders tables after this one, right? Okay, so right, I'll just withdraw. What I was thinking doesn't make sense.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so there is support for a compromise of $500 instead of $1,000 as proposed by Adonis from the residents. So I'm gonna ask first if there's opposition to that. If there is opposition, then we're gonna have to make a decision as per our terms of reference.
Well,
So,
is my amendment?
yes, without cuts to childcare, but he's proposing the savings will come from childcare and other pieces. So, Sarah Jane, are you you want to insist that childcare is not affected, right?
Otherwise,
Okay. Okay, so other cuts apart from childcare. Okay, I get it. So maybe let's test that out first. Are folks comfortable with $500 contribution to Sunday the Park as long as the savings found in other stakeholder meetings? Yay or nay? Just indicate. It's just a quick poll.
say it again.
Are folks comfortable with making a donation to $500 with the stipulation that savings will be found in other stakeholder meetings? See, Kadar is saying yes. I heard Colin say yes earlier.
But is child included in that?
Caitlin is in favor.
I can't vote unless child care is included.
Yes, Elena is yes. Okay, I think we have a majority of residents. We've met the first. It's a no for Gail. Okay, so we have one resident opposed so far.
Yeah, all right. If Gail is still opposed, then I guess it is at this point a vote.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I am now going to do a final count on the votes, and just correct me if you are if I'm wrong. Colin said yes. Kedar said yes. Miguel said yes. Elena, you said yes. Marshida,
Okay, but
are you
wait
abstaining
a
on
second.
this?
We're voting on the 500, right?
Yes.
The issue is
Okay.
for me,
Yes,
I
Marshida? Oh, okay.
I don't want to say yes because the thing is, what if it's gonna affect in another way? So I
Yeah.
cannot really say yes to that. If it's affecting the SDP table meeting. If it doesn't, if just the saving you guys using, I'm okay with it.
Okay, so you're comfortable with a $500
As long as it doesn't affect
reallocation?
in any way that with the for the stakeholder meeting.
Okay, okay. So you have a condition that it doesn't affect the meeting happening. I get it. Okay. Okay. So, okay, so we have a majority of residents saying yes. Now I'm going to ask the collective group, so grassroots organizations, agencies to take their position. Adonis, what's your position on this?
I'll support the amendment for $500.
Okay. Caitlin?
Oh, I still don't
Yeah,
understand
I'm in favor.
Okay. Joel?
what's happening.
We're doing a count on the organizational vote on this. Joel is yes. Okay.
This yet.
Yeah, Joel is yes. So we're gonna go Michael.
Okay, so I'm abstaining, but I think technically Caitlin and Joel are from the same organization, so I don't think that can be counted as two votes.
No,
but
no,
it
no
doesn't
worries.
matter. It looks like we're going to do it anyways, and I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Shirkan?
To be honest, I don't have the answers, so I'm gonna yeah, I don't have the answers, so exclude me out of this one if that's okay.
Okay.
If the majority, just from hearing from the community, since they all want to do this, I would say okay.
Okay. So we've made a
Yeah.
decision, my friends. The decision is we're allocating $500 from one of the stakeholders meeting to Sunday in the Park. Okay, as a donation. Okay.
What does it mean as far as not the child monitoring or not altering anything, as Rashida said?
We're making cuts, but you've emphasized, sorry, Jane, you don't want to see cuts to the childcare. Point has been made.
So that's included in this motion, not to cut childcare, and Rashida had something about not to detract from the stakeholders meeting in any way. And I'm not sure what Rashida said. Maybe Rashida can.
Marshida is communicating that she wants the meeting to happen, the stakeholders meeting. We all want the stakeholders meeting to happen. So I'm assuming she's saying yes to the $500, but we will actually make that decision collectively when that budget comes for discussion. So sorry, Jane, I'm hoping that we could discuss that at that point. Okay, Joel, go ahead.
It just occurred to me, we need to be pretty clear with our language. It's as if we're allocating or reallocating the money, but we're not actually allocating it ourselves. We're not deciding. We're just making recommendations. And that is actually relevant in particular for the child minding piece now that I think about it, because I don't think we would the city won't care as long as we have a solution for child minding. They just want to make sure there is child minding, and I think we all do. But just to say that, that there actually does have to be a concrete solution for these, especially for child minding, if we're going to make changes to the way we fund.
Thank you.
Okay, so that point was explained. Thank you, Sarah Jane. Thank you, Joel. We're going to go to Ishmael. Go ahead.
There's a question. So if we do remove the meetings, no, we're not removing the meetings. I haven't heard anything about a progress report. We've been talking about stakeholders table meetings a lot. Are we including the progress report or the report back, as we say, in the counts of the stakeholder table meeting, or is that separate? Sorry, I know I'm complicating
next year.
further,
The next one is in next year, so it doesn't affect this.
So we won't be having one in 2024?
No, it just doesn't affect this. Whether we have it or not, it depends on our budget for next year.
It's 2024.
Which means there's no reason not to have it. This motion doesn't prevent us from having it. It's not in the time frame that this motion will affect.
It is in 2024. It's in the fall.
Well, it was supposed to be in the spring. We did a kind of an interim report back. So if we're moving them all to the fall now, then that's a new thing. They were never in the fall.
I thought the last one was still in 2024.
Okay, so the point that Ishmael is making is, will it have an impact on future stakeholder meetings, specifically the progress report back to the community? The answer is simply yes. What the proposal is to recommend that $500 be spent in Sunday in the park, but the other piece of this recommendation is to find savings in other stakeholder tables. So maybe get contributions or find ways to cover certain expenses. So the answer is yes.
What is the other stakeholders table? When is the last one?
There's two other stakeholders tables. I think there's one that's scheduled for September, and then there's one in December, I suspect.
That's what I asked.
November.
I think can I speak at some point?
Or not?
Stop jumping.
We do have two other stakeholder meetings planned for this year. Yes, sorry, G.
24, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Right. So in the past, we had always had them in the spring. In November, because we had an interim report for evaluation, we ended up doing something very similar, but that was not officially the report back meeting.
Yeah.
So I think what happened was that this year we ended up doing strategic planning. So because we had those two unusual circumstances, it's a good question what we do with the schedule for report back meetings. We can either go back to the spring, or we can say let's just do it always in the fall from now on. But originally they were in the spring. There was never a report back in the fall. There was just another meeting that was similar to a report back. But we had the choice going forward whether we want to do it in the fall or the spring.
Understood, Michael. Yeah.
In the future, like 2025 and so on, it's a separate issue. It doesn't come out of the funding that would be affected by this $500. So,
okay, so
I guess the only remaining question is, what are we doing in the fall? But at least we know that with this motion, we can still have two stakeholder meetings in the fall, and we'll have to decide at that point whether they are strategic plan or report back or something else, or we just do the report back in April of next year or whatever. But at least we know we haven't had to cut back the number of meetings, so we're not actually
we're not cutting back
significantly worse off. We just have a budget shortfall.
Yeah, it's $250 per meeting. So we're cutting $250 for the next two meetings. I hope that's very clear to everyone. Okay, so that's what we approved. Do we want to encourage the Sunday in the Park Planning Committee yeah, there's nothing else. I guess the city has made a decision, but maybe this is something that could be raised with the city when it comes to funding, sustainable funding for Sunday in the Park. Okay, folks, we've made a decision. Let's move on. We've considered this proposal. So can we now move on to the next item? Thank you, Ishmael, for sharing the terms of reference. It's we're going to do a quick item related to the business cases and then hopefully adjourn our meeting. Okay, so just as a reminder to everyone on planning, we approved business cases that came from the Evaluations and Benchmark Committee with regards to evaluation champions. We also approved a business case with regards to honoraria for the co-chairs, Market and TCHC. Remind me, was there any other business case, Ishmael?
No, I don't think so. We had
those were the ones.
Well, I mean, weren't the stakeholders tables meetings a business case?
Yes. There's also a business case related to that. So maybe this could be a way to get the money back. I don't know. We'll see. But the point is, we haven't heard back from the city. So I would like to recommend that we follow up with the city with regards to the business case by writing to to Richard first, just to invite Richard to our planning meeting after July 11th. So that means either the July 18th week or July 22nd week, to provide us with the decision of the city when it comes to the access to the 50K operating funds that we've recommended for approval. Okay, so are folks comfortable with that course of action? Miguel, go ahead.
I know that we are over time now. What if Richard comes back and says, all right, guys, I have ordered to release the remaining funds of the SDP for this quarter, then we can revert the transfer of funds from the SDP to the Sunday in the Park. Can we reverse that that funding so that way other residents who are concerned and this conversation today will understand that we are just putting money because we have imperative needs. But if Richard comes back with a positive decision, then we can reverse the transfer of funds, correct? All right, that's it.
Okay, well, it's possible, Miguel. I'm not sure, but it's possible. But there's a lot of things at play for that to happen. But thanks for sharing your thoughts. Next is Joel, then Adonis. Go ahead, Joel. You're muted.
I just ask if we could just defer this one. I think there's a bunch of stuff to think about, and I don't think it's a good time to do it. I don't think it's urgent. Maybe I was going to suggest maybe that Ismail give a report, but I could even just, like, Ismail and I have both been in touch with the city and the stuff. If there is stuff on the move, I don't think we need to take time right now to try to do anything different.
Okay, thanks. I'm comfortable with withdrawing my recommendation if we want to. There's already communication happening between Joel, Ishmael, and the city on this item. Adonis, go ahead.
Yeah, as long as it's deferred, and my hands are down. I agree with deferring this item.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to defer this item until we discuss it. Okay, last items on the agenda. Ishmael, please stop sharing the screen, make your announcement, and then we're going to go to Joel's announcement after, and then we're ending our meeting. Go ahead.
Thank you. So folks, today I've given my 2 weeks notice. I have accepted another role. So 2 weeks from today, I will no longer be the admin for the SDP. Thank you everyone for the support while I was here. I got to learn a lot. I got to watch everyone facilitate and pick up on the facilitation skills. I'm sure I'm a master typer at this point in terms of speed. And thank you again for all the support and help that everyone provided here. I'm still going to be around. I will be the new workforce integrator, so I'm still supporting the SDP, but just in another role.
Thank you, Ishmael. I just want to say congratulations on your new role. I'm really, really happy that you're not leaving the SDP because you're an asset to this community. I think a lot of us have learned from you. And also your facilitation is on point. Your note-taking is on point. Your conflict resolution skills are amazing. And I hope that others will be lucky enough to be mentored by you, hoping other members of the community, specifically at youth, get that opportunity. And I'm so glad you've taken on that new role to support our employment agenda within the SDP. So congratulations on your new role, Ishmael. I'm very proud of you, and thank you so much for all you've done for us. We have Elena, then Gail. Go ahead, Elena.
Yeah, thank you very much, Walied. Congratulations, Ismail, once again. I am very happy that, definitely I will be, beside you, and we will make changes in future. But of course, it is sad that you are quitting, completely from this. But of course, you said you will be around, but still, and You are
place
a very
order.
yeah, yeah. Actually, the Ismail is very, very impressive person in regards to his work and the way of the guiding of the meeting. I really appreciate and congratulations once again. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for the kind words. I don't know if the camera can tell. I'm definitely blushing right now.
Gail? Miguel, do you mind muting yourself, please? Okay, go ahead, Gail.
Well, hello. Yes, congratulations. But we'll have an offline conversation, sir. I'm calling out the comment that was made in the chat. We have to stop doing that. There are many people that are stakeholders. You may not like them, but you don't say, well, I hope they don't work for this organization, right? That is a city organization, regardless of what you think of them. This is a young person with their whole career in front of them. And I don't think we should make those comments regardless of what we think. We are the elders, so we should act accordingly. That's my 2 cents, please.
Thank you, Gail, for sharing your thoughts. Okay, folks.
Yeah, and I just want, I'm reading what the comment said, right? The comment said, I hope you don't end up working for TCHC. Haha. They're like, no, we can't do that. We need to stop doing those things. Come on, we are adults and we are the elders.
I agree.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. So again, Ishmael, congratulations. Before we move on to Joel for his quick reminder and remarks related to your position, I suspect. Do you want to, is there any final words you want to share with us?
Was I supposed to? I think I said it all.
No, you said it all. So is there anything else? Just want to make sure you have the final word on this.
No, that's it. Thank you again, everyone, for the kind words. And again, the support throughout my career. Was it a year and a half? Flew by. And it was nice to meet so many people from the neighborhood. I know before I even joined the admin position, many of you didn't even know I lived in the neighborhood, even though I was here since 1999. And now I walk around the neighborhood and so many people recognize me from even the meeting recordings. Someone from the neighborhood came up to me, he's like, oh, I watch you on YouTube. And I was like, I was confused. I forgot RPTV posted on YouTube. So again, thank you everyone for that.
Thank you, Ishmael. Okay, now I'm going to pass on the platform to Joel just to speak about what happens next. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe we can't get through this today. If there's going to be discussion, then we'll just have to defer it. This is a 6-month contract just to take us to the end of the year. So it's a really short-term contract to replace Ismail. We'd like to do a posting and pull together a hiring committee. We're suggesting that it be a small hiring committee of about maybe 5 to 7 people. So my proposal is, if you're interested in being part of it, could you email me? And we'll just constitute a hiring committee out of those that are interested. If that's acceptable to people, we can do that. If there's any issues, we'll just defer it to, I guess, 2 weeks from now.
Okay, sounds good. So we will have that item at our next planning committee meeting to discuss the striking of the hiring committee.
No, I'm suggesting doing it now, Waleed. That's my proposal, is to do it now so that we can.
You want to strike the committee now?
So that we don't wait, not the people, but just to have a process for striking it. Otherwise, we're waiting for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I understand. So why don't we, and maybe we could send this out via email as well for those who are not able to attend, to encourage those members of the planning committee that would like to serve on the hiring committee to connect with Joel directly. And then Joel will convene the first hiring committee meeting. Okay.
And our proposal is 5 or 7 people to be on the committee.
Sounds good. Okay, so are folks comfortable with that recommendation to planning committee? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Anyone opposed?
I just want to say something. I'm not opposed. I just want to say that the job consisted of 2 separate jobs, one of which the SDP it was actually SDP funds with the organization as the trustee. The other part of it, the funds did not come from the SDP. So it's just important to remember that the SDP has like a higher level of involvement over the admin part of the job.
Okay, point taken. And maybe that could be discussed at the hiring committee meeting. Okay. So I'm just asking for the last time, is anyone opposed to the proposal put forward? Seeing none, we made a decision that the hiring committee was struck today on July 4th, and will be convening after those. When do people need to get back to you, Joel, about being part of the hiring committee? Can you put a deadline maybe or date?
Is tomorrow end of day too soon?
Too soon, yeah. Maybe next week.
So
Monday,
maybe
Tuesday.
Monday end of day or Tuesday end of day.
Okay, so why don't we decide that? Elena, you have some suggestions?
I have a question. Anybody can be in the hiring committee, or it has to be only the SDP is the group?
Members of the
It
planning.
It should be people, yeah, that are, because these are the people that will be working with that person.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so why don't we say Tuesday, end of day, July 9th, to give people as much time as possible. So the hiring committee can also meet and deliberate as soon as possible, so we can get a hiring completed as soon as possible. Is everyone comfortable with Tuesday, July 9th, end of day? And we can send an email to folks who are not in this meeting, just to remind them, okay? Okay, sounds good. We'll send an email to everyone, Tuesday, July 9th, end of day, if you're interested in being part of the hiring committee. Thank you all for staying an extra 18 minutes after the meeting. We got a lot done today. And congratulations, Ishmael, on your new role. We are gonna miss you in this specific role, but we're so confident that you will be still supporting the SDP. So thank you. Okay, folks, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening. It was a fantastic, meeting today.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. And for more information, please visit our website.